So this is a very important area to work on, but it is also a very sensitive area. I don't want you to apply full body pressure right out of the gate, and I want you to take your time. Do not rush. Move nice and slow and mindful. Use your intuition. And then if your body allows, you can slowly add more pressure as we go along. Avoid this area, so avoid this video completely if you are pregnant or have an inguinal hernia. If you've ever had abdominal surgery, check with your doctor first to make sure that it's okay for you to be performing this work. When we're doing this, if you feel your muscles contracting, if you feel your stress going up, maybe your heart pitter-patter just going too fast and you can't calm yourself down, you can't relax and get rid of those feelings, then I want you to find a softer tool, softer ball, back off a little bit, and then I'll be giving other options throughout this as well, ways to make it easier and harder for those of you that need a little bit more. Grab a ball, preferably a massage ball, tennis ball, something similar. If you have other sizes and densities of balls, go ahead and grab those too, because you might find that you need them. And we will get started. I want to work your upper abdominals. We're going to be on your belly again, but before we do, let's go ahead and take a look at the area we're going to be working while we can see it a bit better. Find your belly button, and then also find your ribs, your lower ribs. So my ribs are here and here, and my belly button's here. We are going to be working the diamond shape in between there. You want to stay off of your belly button. You want to stay off of the center line, including up here. We don't want to hit your xiphoid process. So you are going to avoid the center. So it's more like a triangle. We're going to work a triangle on one side, and then we're going to work, does that work? A triangle on the other side. So find the top of your rib cage where your xiphoid process would be, and the center line, staying off of that. Place the ball, so kind of underneath my rib cage, off of that center line. This is where you're going to start, and then you're going to work that small triangle area. It is not a very big spot. Of course, it's going to be different sizes on each person, but that's the area you are going to be working. So take a ball, come onto your belly. Okay, find the top of the triangle. So right up near and kind of under, I'll just say more near the rib cage, not on the ribs. I don't want you to be on the ribs either. Don't press on the bones. You're going to be at the soft tissues in between. Move around, explore that little area, see what you feel. You can be up on your forearms or come on down. Big breaths. See how it feels, if this is too much for you or not. You can always use a softer ball. Another great option is to come onto your back if this is too much for you. Similar to the video last week, if you did that one with me, you can come onto your back and you could use your hands and press the ball. This works really well for me too. I can definitely find spots. So remember, you're just going down to the side of your belly button, back out, no. Stay in that triangle area. We already did next to the belly button last time. You decide where your body needs to be. Feel free to kind of play with your legs. Forearms can be up. So this can, stretch that area a bit, but for me, it digs in more when I lay down. So explore, experiment, find what works for you. Work out your icky spots. When it releases, feel free to move to a new spot. The other little trick that we did last week that might work for you here was I had placed the ball on top of a roller, like so. and you can put your body on that, or I had mentioned a chair. Another way to do it, so here's that triangle spot, a chair or a bench. If this is more comfortable for you than being on the floor, this is a great way to do it. No matter what you choose, you're finding the spots, getting them to release with your breath. Minor movements to find your sweet spot. It's a pretty tender area, so I don't expect you to be here too long. In fact, let's go ahead and switch sides. As we've done before, you can move your leg to different spots and see if that helps you get into an area better. And I want you to try the contract and relax technique while you're here too, because I think that one can be really beneficial in this area. So to do that, engage all the muscles in your belly and push the ball away. Tight muscles. On an exhale, relax. Let all your air go. Let the ball dig up into your tissues, and then try it again on an inhale. Tighten your belly muscles. Press the ball away. Make your tummy hard. On an exhale, release. Come down onto the ball. Let all your tension go. You can try that a few times. Sometimes you'll find your muscle will have released already, and if that's the case, move on to another spot. Otherwise, you can try the contract and release a couple more breaths, see if it works. Even though it might not work today, it might work another day. Find another spot as you need it, staying in that triangle area. Remember again, avoid the center line, avoid your ribs. There's my spot. If you need more time, take it. Otherwise, I want you to flip over now onto your back. And we are going to work our ribs. I do not like to press a ball or anything hard into the ribs. So I want you to just use your fingers. So come onto your back. Pick a side, pick a rib cage. I'm going to roll over just slightly so you can see me a bit more, but you can just be flat on your back. Okay, so feel your ribs, and then notice in between your ribs, you have tissue, a little bit softer, fleshier part, right? So I want you to take your fingers, your fingertips, and I just want you to press on the fleshy part in between your ribs. Slowly make your way down and notice what you feel. You are looking for spots that feel tender. And if you don't feel any, move on to the next one. So for me, I didn't feel too much over here, but I do feel a good spot right here. So this is going to be my area that I'm going to work. You know the drill. Breathe and relax. You can wiggle your fingers in a little bit more if you need to. Move them around a bit. Find the most tender spot. That's it for me right there. Hang out. If you have a small ball, you can use it here, getting in between the ribs. But I don't want you using a ball that's so big that you're pressing on the bones. When it releases, find another spot. Gentle on the bone. Digging in between. you feel you've got that side good, go ahead and switch to the other side. Exploring first. Just drawing your fingers in between the ribs on the soft spot. See if you find any sections that are tender. Oftentimes, if you have a lumbar spine that's got too much lordosis, or you find that when you stand and walk, you're in a back bend a lot with your low back, in between your ribs can be super tight and sticky. So if you know that's you, then you might find that you really need this one. I found my spot. I'm going to hang out and breathe. If it doesn't release today, maybe it will release another day. If your fingers get tired, switch hands. You can also probably use your thumb. Here I am on my side. Still just pushing in with my thumb, finding a spot that feels tender, hanging out there. All right, as always, if you need more, please take more time and keep working to release those tight spots. For your lower belly, lower abdomen, you need a very, very soft ball. If you can see this is super squishy. See if you have something around your house that will work. I also have this smaller one that works pretty well, also squishy. This came in one of those claw machines. My daughter won it somewhere, and that can be really nice as well. If you have a soccer ball, you can take air out of it and make it squishy. That can work. So again, just be creative. Pause me if you need to. Go look around your house, see what you can find. If you absolutely can't find anything, then just fast forward past this section, okay? So we're going to be on your belly, and we're going to place the ball down low beneath your belly button right here, and you're going to come on top of it and see how it feels. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Lie down on the ball. I recommend once you're there, you wiggle a bit side to side, see what you feel. There's a lot of stuff down in there. Tissues, organs. Notice what you feel. And then see if you can settle in. You can be on your forearms like this, or you can come down. Find a place. You might be more to the left, you might be more to the right, or you might be right smack in the center. Whatever is your sweet spot. And breathe. Relax. Your main job is to breathe and relax. For those of you that are finding this super crazy intense, try the contract and relax. So tighten your belly muscles, push the ball away. On an exhale, relax. Inhales, tighten, press the ball away. Exhales, relax. Try a few of those. See if that makes it a bit better. I'd also like you to play with the placement of your knees and your femurs. You can try taking your knees in or opening them out a bit more. Knees can be bent or straight. You can also rock your legs and your hips a little side to side, just exploring and trying to find your sweet spot. It can also be that you're trying to lessen the stress. So it might be that, so for example, it might be that this is where I need it because this is where it's really uncomfortable, but it's so uncomfortable that I can't stay here and I can't breathe. So if I move my legs just a little bit, then you might find a spot where you can hang out and you can breathe and it's not too much. And then over time, you might be able to get a little bit closer back to the spot that was the worst spot. That makes sense? So you're kind of working around the bad area, working your way there over time. You can also kind of straighten your legs. You can, I like to tuck my toes under, if you can see that. I'll slide up a bit. You can see me better. There we go. Tuck toes, lift my knees. Bend them and relax. Lift them. Body can be down. This is a good one for me. Again, this is another one where you might not feel it locally. You might not feel it so much where the ball's pressing, but instead you might feel it in your back or down your hips or down your legs. Avoid numbness and tingliness always. And if it feels like too much, come out of it. So you might find that you get numbness, you might get tingles. You might even feel kind of cold or even kind of hot. And if you get any of that, then you probably just want to come out of it. And then you can always play with it again if you want to. Otherwise, try it again another day. Make sure you get to the sides a little bit and see if you've got anything there. So here I'm off to one side a bit. From there I'm going to straighten my leg and see what that does. That makes it feel more uncomfortable for me, but it's not so uncomfortable that I can't relax. So for me, I think this is more my sweet spot. Stretching the leg. Again, this is a pretty sensitive area, so I don't want you to feel like you need to spend too much time here. I'd always rather you err on the side of gentle and less and caution. And then over time, feel free to do more, use more pressure as you get used to it and you know it's, and you've found that it is something that feels good for your body. Okay, I think that's probably good for your belly. We will move on to a couple of exercises. Come onto your back for a dead bug. Start by bringing your knees into your body. Engage your core so your belly stays nice and flat. Breathe into your side ribs. Keep everything here full of air, nice and tight. And then take your arms up to the sky. Lift your lower legs so they're parallel with the ground. And then you can keep your knees here, or you can take your knees away from your body. So really whatever works for you. I encourage you to at least start with your knees in a little bit closer until you're sure that this works for you. Take one heel, tap it down on the floor as the opposite arm comes up overhead, and then bring it back. Other side, heel down, thumb comes towards the floor, bring it back. They do not have to touch the floor, but they can, whatever works for you. I like to inhale as I reach away, exhale as you come back. You decide where you want your knees. If this is easy for you, take your knees further away. If on the other hand it's hard for you, you can bring your knees closer into your body. You want to feel work, here in your core. You don't want to feel work in your back. You don't want to let your back come up off the ground either. Keep it down. Keep going until you're about 70 or 80% exhausted. And then if you have the time, I would encourage you to take about a 20-30 second break, do another set, another break, and a third set. Before we quit today, let's get in a low lunge. So come up onto your knees, one leg back behind you, other leg in front. I want you to walk your foot forward of your knee about maybe 6 inches or so. Engage your core, belly button in, spine nice and tight, and then slowly draw your body forward. Just a few inches is all, enough that you feel a stretch here. Tuck your tail as you do so. The more you tuck your tail, the more stretch you should feel here without having to come too far forward. Then bring your arms up. Reach your chest up to the sky and back slightly. So you're just doing a slight back bend with your upper back. Draw your body back to straight. Come back forward again. Back up and forward again. Let's do 2 more. And switch sides. This time I'll come to the side so you can see it a bit better. One leg back, other leg forward. Walk the front foot forward of your knee. Engage your belly, tuck your tail. Even this alone might be enough of a stretch for you right here. And that is okay. If it's not, then begin to draw your body forward without coming into a back bend though. Keeping a nice neutral spine. Come forward, arms up. Heart comes up, little back bend in your upper back. Forward, back to where you started. Forward and back. Let's do 5. Hopefully you're feeling a nice stretch through here. And if you'd like, go ahead and do a second set. With that said, I look forward to seeing you next week. If you printed the body chart, go ahead and grab it with the writing utensil. I want you to note how uncomfortable this was for each area that we worked on. I recommend using a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the most painful, 3 is in the middle, so I would probably consider that uncomfortable, and 1 feels nice, unnecessary, I think is a good word. For areas you noted a 3, 4, or a 5, I want you to add any notes, such as a particular technique or a tip that you might want to remember when you're working on that area. Now remember, if your body conditions or intuition tells you an area is not right for you, please do not do it. I want you to seek help from a professional instead. So for the next week, I want you to work on all the areas that you noted as a 3 or up, so a 3, a 4, or a 5. There really is no exact plan for how much time you should spend on any one area. Honestly, you gotta work with it for a while, and you gotta find your sweet spot where you're doing it enough that you are making positive change, but not so much that you're wasting your time or bruising yourself. I would say, just to give you an idea, on average 5 times a week is probably good, and maybe 2 to 3 minutes per area, but again, everyone is going to be different. Hopefully you will find, like me, that your pain level adjusts quickly. I might be a 5 in one area, and then a week later I'm a 4, and then a week later I'm a 3. I mean, sometimes our body adjusts really, really quickly, and the pain scale will go down fast. I had a muscle, it was in my back, that would take about 5 minutes of work for me to feel better. But after a few weeks of doing it 1 to 2 times a day, it started releasing in seconds. I started doing it less and less. Again, originally I was doing it daily, but now I only do it when I need it. And hopefully that's what you will find as well, that it will release quicker and you won't need it nearly as often. Other things to note, I want you to drink lots of water and know that you might be sore tomorrow. If so, take a break from that area, and then you can try and do it again the next day if you're not sore anymore. If you need help with the areas, feel free to just watch the videos over and over and do it with me. Otherwise, once you've got it down, just feel free to do it on your own. Either way, be sure to make it quality work. Your muscles are going to release faster if you just relax, focus on what you're doing, and most importantly, remember to breathe, especially those big exhales. With that said, I will see you next week.